Okay, I think we are going live. Hello, everyone. For those of you that are joining on the dial-in and also on Facebook Live, we are going live in just a moment. I am excited to have everyone here today joining us for this conversation and this discussion. Thank you so much. I have on the line Coach Michael Burt. Hello, sir. Thank you for joining today.
Hello. Thank you for having me. Excited to visit with you about this concept of being a monster producer.
Yes, exactly. So what I'd like to do for everyone that's joining us, Coach, would you mind giving an introduction of yourself and then we can dive into this conversation?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for that. I spent a decade of my life as building a championship basketball program at a large high school in Tennessee. Along the way, I began to engineer those kids to win at a very high level by using a theory called the whole person theory, where I tapped into the body, the mind, the heart, and the spirit. And I had leadership academies, success academies, emotional toughness academies, life after basketball academies. And it's so interesting that what I was really doing was conditioning those kids to be able to thrive in a modern and competitive world. Even in the midst of adversity, I was teaching them how to handle adversity, how to fight through adversity, how to push through and use adversity to accelerate progress. So most of those kids that played for me during that period should be highly equipped to handle any type of external stimulus they get. Along the way, I began writing the first of 15 books, and people were constantly asking me about my methodology and my systems and my structure. So at 31, I retired from athletic coaching to coach business people, which is what I've been doing over the last 12 years. Business people, entrepreneur, sales professionals, managers, both individually and corporately. So that's what we do today. We have a coaching company where we coach people all over the world.
I love that. And we had a chance to meet at a conference a few years ago. I think you stole the stage, and it was really shifting my mindset around business and this topic today. So thank you so much for everyone that's on the line. I see we have Eric. I see we have some callers in. I see Suzette. Thank you for joining us. So guys, why are we here today? The number one thing that people are talking about is the current crisis around COVID. Now, we're not underplaying the seriousness of that at all. But what we wanted to do was really have a dialogue around how not only can you pivot, another key word coming out into the marketplace, but pivoting starts with first your mindset as a leader. And so, Coach, a lot of the work that we do, for those of you that may be new to who I am, let me introduce myself. My name is LaDawn Townsend. I'm the CEO and founder of Voss. And we are a strategic advisory firm, and we do one thing: we grow your bottom line through fixing people, process, and profit. So all of those things together, and we work here. Of course, we're based in the US. We have a international reach within India, Africa, expanding into the Middle East and Asia. Even in the world right now, we can still do things. And so what we found in the past few weeks, and it is a dialogue and a conversation of not acceleration, but of retraction from leaders. And I really wanted to talk with you about how leaders right now are asking questions, but they should be asking a different question. We're hearing things such as cash flow is low, or what do I do with employees that there's no work coming in? Do I lay them off? And so there's an undertone of panic versus strategy. So could you explain the concept of what is the monster mindset first? And then let's talk about, why do leaders today need to kick into that drive?
Yeah, when I wrote the book, Inside the Mind of a Monster, it was really a book about how do you have the habits, attitudes, and mindset of playing offense versus defense. You know, big time people do not contract, okay? They get afraid, they have fear, but they use fear as fuel. They have disappointment, but they use disappointment. They have anger, but they use anger. They have anxiety, but they use anxiety. When you work with big time people like I have over the last X number of years, what you see is big time people are constantly interested in expansion. They believe in diversification of a business model. They believe that they will find a way. In essence, I could sum it up like this: the monster producer believes it's going to be a fight, but they're going to find a way to win.
Right.
And once you know this concept, then you expect the unexpected. You know, I didn't really have any breakdowns in my business, LaDawn, until probably over the last couple of years, when I began to catch some national notoriety, when I began to help lots and lots of people. That's when evil people popped up. That's when negative people popped up. That's when adversity popped up. That's when greedy people popped up. Like, I didn't have a lot of these problems when I was helping a few people. It really started when I started helping large numbers of people. And that's just the law of numbers, like the law of averages, right? When you have X number of people, there's going to be some of them that turn out to be bad people. So when you think about this concept of a monster, it's frameworks, it's mindset of offense versus defense. It's okay, so our current business model may not be working, but let's find another way for it to work, which is what Delta did. I mean, Delta ripped out the seats in some of their planes and they started using them as cargo planes. They still had planes. Okay. So it made, you know, because my speaking engagements have been canceled. Okay, let's do virtual summits. We should have been doing virtual summits anyway. So we should have been calling our clients. We should have been prospecting every day. A lot of things that's happening right now as part of the correction is laziness and complacency that happened 30, 60, 90, 120 days ago, that the market is now rebuking us. It's now correcting us. Now, whether it's been the virus or something else happened, there's the thunderbolt. Now, the question becomes, how do you handle the thunderbolt? My mindset is I wake up every day optimistic versus pessimistic. I wake up every day and says, it's out there. I'm going to find a way to figure it out. And that is the mindset of the monster producer. That's really what the book is about.
When you talked about, you know, you have a saying that I love, and my family is from deep South Texas, so I relate a lot of it, even though we live in Los Angeles County now. And there's this saying that winter will ask what you did all spring and summer. And what I want to talk about now are leaders that are being faced with having to hold their teams accountable, still being sensitive to what's happening. But for what we're hearing is they're really challenged with trying to please everyone, but you can't as a leader. And they're finding that those leaders and even employees in their organization weren't preparing for winter when they said they were. So as a leader, if you're faced today with that conversation of we are not as sustainable as we thought we could be, either from people or profit standpoint, because that's what we deal with day in and day out, what's the first thing that they should do?
Well, this is all hands on board for every person. I don't care if it's the owner of the company to the employees. Every person needs to understand the seriousness of this. If there's no money coming into the company, there's not enough revenue to produce to have employees. Okay. And so this is why the employee needs to understand we got to do everything we can right now. This is the time to find another gear. Good people will get laid off during this period because there's just not enough money. Right. And a small business owner, I mean, we've had restaurants that have been open for a year to 2 years right down the road from me that literally within 2 weeks of this have already closed their business. I'm not talking about like we're closed down during this period. I'm talking about shut down, done, over, forget it. I've got friends that have been sent home with no pay, no jobs, no nothing. So when you think about it, I've tried to encourage my team right now, like this is a time to really be great. It's not a time to be lazy. If you can work from home, it's not a time to take 2 or 3 hours off during the day. This is a time to try every tactic and strategy you have. This is a time to be coachable. This is a time to if you got to do 2 or 3 people's jobs right now, do it. Make yourself more valuable, right? Like don't make yourself invaluable. Now for the owners of companies that, you know, I mean, they're scared just like everybody else is. They got payroll, they got expenses, they got office buildings, they got all kinds of things. So my mindset is we're going to play offense every day. We're going to stay in a routine, whether we work from the office or work from home. We're going to get up in the morning like we normally do. We're going to get our workout in. We're going to make our 80 phone calls. We're going to follow the system. All of this is in the book, Inside the Mind of a Monster. And I do want to tell you, we're going to give this, LaDawn, to every person that's watching this today. So if it's okay, I'm going to share my screen and I'll show them a text code if that's okay.
Please do. That's great.
And this is just a little gift from me to your group. And I'm going to share my desktop here, and then I'm going to show a text slide. And I was thinking about something we could do for your people. And there it is. Anybody watching this or watching the replay of this, can you see that okay?
Yep, we can see it. Text code MONSTER for those dialing in.
Yep.
You want texts to 678-506-7543, the word monster.
Yep, with an exclamation point.
With an exclamation point.
Hey, I wouldn't be a high D on a disc profile if I didn't have an exclamation point, LaDawn. Come on now. Come on, girl.
I scored a high D as well. I was almost a double D, but the instructor said, I will scare people if I give them the shifter result. So she said I was a DC, but I understand the D mentality. Yeah. And you know, Coach, I'm glad that you brought this up because one of the things that's really impacting, you know, the companies that we work with those are small businesses, but traditionally our sweet spot is between 10 to 50 million. And we've worked with organizations as well. And I will tell people that what Coach is talking about today, here's what I want you to do in shifting your mindset. This isn't just for those that are new entrepreneurs and you have no employees or you have a small team. There are teams that are doing 250 million a year, international businesses. You know, we have a big footprint within India, and we're talking to business owners that are trying to calm down their board of directors just to shift on normal things. This is something that at all levels of business, it is impacting. And whether you are a startup, whether you go above, you know, the reason I started my business is after getting laid off 6 years ago, my corporate job broke up with me after being a fixer for 20 years. I decided not to retract, but to accelerate. It has been 6 years of learning. I went through a span of making $700 in 2 years. Boy, that was rolling, right? And then having to accelerate without loans, without any of that. So here is the deal, guys. Having this monster mindset is going to differentiate you in the market. And that's what's needed today. And so, Coach, talk to us about those, you know, if a leader is saying, how do I kick up, we call it activating the next gear in an organization. And I find a lot of times when we coach leaders, they're saying, they're pausing because they know they're going to make their team uncomfortable. And I think being uncomfortable is the best part of it. You should be uncomfortable coming into your job. Am I keeping my job? Am I not? Because it activates performance. But there's this culture over the past 3 to 5 years that we've done case studies on to see that within corporate America, or those of you that are watching internationally, a corporate setting, it's frowned upon to hold employees accountable, to not ask them to do their job, or how you ask them. You should butter it with a lot of sugar. Now, my dad was a drill sergeant in the Army. I don't come from sugar and buttering all of that, even in the workplace. But how can we really enforce within a workplace if a leader is saying, okay, I need that monster mindset, I need to activate the next gear, but I may upset the ecosystem? What should they be thinking right now?
Well, when you have problems with anybody, whether it be employees or any relationship, it's because you don't believe the same things. There's a misalignment in what you believe and what they believe. Look, I believe in coming in early and staying late. I believe in when a person asks you to go 1 mile, you go 2. I believe in always over delivering on what people compensate you for. I do believe there comes a time when winter asks what you did all spring and summer. I believe we need to be in every day, and we need to hit our call quotas. We need to do what we're supposed to do. Like, that's me. I'm a tough-minded person. I'm a monster producer, right? That's why I wrote the books, why I created the coaching program. But when you're going to have problems with your employees is when they don't believe the same things you do. If I believe in coming in early and staying late, and you believe in showing up late and leaving early, then we don't believe the same things.
Right.
It doesn't make me right and you wrong, but just means we probably don't need to work with each other, right? We're probably not going to have a lot in common. We do business with other people that believe the same things we do. Now, I've had these talks with my employees. I said, you guys need to understand the seriousness of this. I love you, but if we don't make any money, I can't keep you. And that's just I don't know any other way to tell you. Now, I'm going to get in here and fight for you. I'm going to show up early every day. I'm going to stay late. I canceled any vacation that I had. I'm working through my daughter's spring break. I'm doing everything I can to keep the company rolling so you guys can keep your jobs. All I ask in return is that you give me everything you got during this period. Now, that is an exchange. Now, if you have people that resist you on that, LaDawn, they don't need to be working with your company. Okay. I mean, that's just the reality, guys. It's never going to work, right? This is not a job to me. This is a mission to me. This is a calling to me. This is a vocation to me. So the people that we run through, or they don't work out, or it doesn't cycle right, it's just, we just don't believe the same things, and that's okay. Like I said, it doesn't make me right and them wrong. It just means we probably don't need to be in partnership with each other.
Right.
Right. Like, we don't even need to be in business partnership with each other. I don't need to have business partners that don't believe the same things I do. That's where conflict happens, is when we misalign on our core values. And to me, a core value is, what do you believe at your core? It's not just trust, honesty, integrity. You don't want unethical people working with you, right? But what do you believe? What do they believe? What do we all believe together?
Right.
Okay. So I know that Lake and Hibden and Eric White's on here with us today. They're texting in. There's the text code. That they've got their emails in here. If you have any questions and you want to talk to them, they're available to talk to you about our coaching program, A Monster Producer. It's at a great price point right now. I think $14.97 for the entire year. I mean, you can get a year's worth of coaching for under $1,500, right? I mean, you can get me in your grill every week for under $1,500, right? And if you don't make that money back, there's something bad wrong, there's something bad wrong. Lord have mercy, I'm gonna get out of coaching if I can't help the person make that money back.
You know, Coach, I love how you said that this is not just a job for you. This is really a calling for you. And I think that's what a lot of leaders are facing today is, you know, the businesses are up and running, but what do they really want to do, and making that pivot and shift and change. I just have a question for you, and I followed you for the past few years. What drives you each day to do what you do? I know you don't drink coffee. I heard you don't drink coffee.
No.
And you don't do energy drinks and things like that. I know you're on a really good diet. I've been following that. See, I follow you. What drives you every day to do what you do?
Yeah, you know, it's a good question. I do drink some slams, a couple slams a day, which are Advocare kind of, you know, what is it? Energy B12 shots, you know. But I've asked myself this question, LaDawn. It's so hard for me to articulate this to you because I know Simon Sinek came out with the book Find Your Why.
Right.
And I have a philosophical difference here after coaching lots of people. Sometimes people have something in them that you cannot put in them and you just can't take it out of them.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't know where that comes from. I don't know if it was the way I was conditioned by my single mother who had me and raised me tough to go get it every day. She taught me, you know, when we go out of the house, we look like somebody. We dress like somebody. We act like somebody. We show up. We grow up. We deliver. We don't whine. We don't complain. We don't make excuses. And I've tried to figure out, where does this strong drive and intensity come from in my life? And is it because I want to help people? Of course. But I love pursuing big things. I'm most motivated when I'm progressing towards something big. I love setting big targets and moving toward those targets. But a lot of the way I am, the way I think, has been conditioned in me from a very early age in life. I was raised to be a monster. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just like you were. Sounds like, you know, you had a similar raising. So which is why your thought pattern is here. Now, why is that a problem? Is that most Americans do not have this mindset.
Exactly.
I mean, 70% of Americans say they do just enough not to get fired. Most people live for the weekend so they can escape the reality of their lives. Most people are not interested in living optimal lives. Most people are not interested in playing at a high frequency. You know, my buddy Brad Lee said, Coach, you ought to just tell people that you're going to strain them versus train them, because that's what they hear. When you say you're going to get trained by Coach Burt, you might as well say, oh, Coach Burt's going to strain you. Nobody wants to be strained. Right. Now, here's the point. I'm not looking for everybody.
Right.
I was on the phone with a guy today who wouldn't take action on a $49 plan. And I'm like, look, man, if you won't invest $49 in yourself, then I can't help you. Like, I don't know what to do for you. Like, we're talking. I've created enough value for you in 30 minutes. There's X number of things you're not doing. You're not going to produce at a higher frequency. We can have this talk today, or we can have it 6 months from today. And the sad part is you're not going to be any better off 6 months from today. So you need to do something. Whether I coach you or somebody else coaches you, you need coaching, okay? You need somebody who will help you. And some people are just living such a fearful state, or such a state of contraction, that they literally can't even think about buying a book. No. They can't think about spending $10 on it. Now, they'll spend $10 on a coffee at Starbucks. They'll spend $30 at the mall. They'll spend $500 in some type of entertainment, but they won't spend it on themselves. And this is a big problem for Americans. Americans do not get better as they get older. They just get older. They need to get better. And the way they get better is they skill up. And the way you skill up is you have somebody coaching you. So I'm very passionate about this, but I typically try to figure out within a very short period if that's a person I'm looking for or not looking for.
I like that. You know, I know a lot of people who are listening to this, and Eric White, I have to give a shout out to him, a part of your organization. He has been a huge supporter of me and connected us, and I see him on the line. You know, he called me the other day after I was on, I think I was just on a tear after being on, talking to executives and team members. And what do you mean you're not selling? What do you know, we got into just improving process, but the way we work is we need to know the whole function of the company. And so we started building sales. And I know some people are listening to this and they may be saying it's really aggressive. The reason I so much enjoy your world and talking with you is we flow in what others may seem aggressive. But what I will tell you is that money doesn't come to those that are sitting idly by. You know, you grew up with, you know, your mother instilling those things with you. I had the same thing. You know, I remember I was 12 years old before I realized that the word can't was an actual word in the dictionary, because growing up, my parents told us, can is a word, you can't use that word, use proper words. And so I never said can't, which a mindset for a child growing into adulthood was that you always do. And it wasn't until an English teacher actually showed me it was a real word. Why do I share that with our audience? Because the word can't is now subconsciously within the workplace. And we're seeing that with people relying. I'm glad that there's stimulus payments going out. I'm glad that there's assistance. The best assistance you can give yourself is infusing cash flow into your business, and that comes through sales. And so we have some ladies I see that are on the line as well. And this is not a male or female thing. You find your flow, but you must have this gear of bringing in income into your business and to be unapologetic with that. So as a part of what you teach people in the Monster Producer Program around this concept, when people are hesitant about sales, especially leaders, one of the top things I find, Coach, I'll share with you, these are leaders of organizations that have 30, 40, 50, 100 plus people. When we ask the question, what is your sales goal for the year? Not investments, not revenue, not that sales. There is 9 times out of 10 a pause. Yeah. Because they don't track to the number. Can you talk to the importance of setting sales goals?
Well, setting a target in life is very critical. Without a target, we don't know if we're winning or losing. Just like in sports, we know who wins and who loses. And in business, you need a dominant focus. And a dominant focus is a single tangible outcome you would like to drive in a 12-month cycle as measured in 30-day windows. Like, you need to know, what is the top line revenue number we're trying to drive, right? What is the profitability number we want from this?
Right.
And then you need to track it every day. We look at those numbers every single day. I get a report every morning called the 5 dials, and the 5 dials tells me exactly what we've sold, exactly how much money we've collected, exactly where we are year to date, exactly where we are month to date. And this is very important because I'm trying to drive a top line number. I'm trying to push us to that number. Our salespeople have goals that they're trying to hit every day. 5 o'clock every day, they have to turn in what they sold for the day in relationship to their monthly number. So everything is broken down into a 30-day cycle, right? So companies, I don't understand why most leaders don't understand that the purpose of the business is to create new revenue. The purpose of the business is to generate a customer. Peter Drucker said that. The whole reason we have a business is to create a customer who will exchange their money for our solution, for our product and service. So it amazes me how many companies I coach in a day that do not have a customer acquisition system. Right. How do you get customers? What's the number of ways you're getting customers? How many leads are you getting? We're driving between 693 and 1,000 leads a month, okay, for my company. Now, those are people who, you know, have indicated some kind of interest in our services. We put that on our, what we call our hit list. We initiate. So there's 4 steps to our sale. We initiate, we connect, we locate a significant problem, we offer a compelling solution. If they indicate interest, we initiate $1 million follow-up plan. All this is in the book, Inside the Mind of a Monster, that we're going to give you today, okay? We're going to give you that book. So text into the number. Eric and Lakin can put the text number in there. Text into the number so you can get the book, because this is very important. Everything you're talking about is all in the book, Inside the Mind of a Monster. It's a systematic strategy to become a legendary creature, okay?
So on the part of that sales goal, thank you guys. And I would definitely recommend you to get that book. You know, as leaders are going through this piece, what do you find is the number one area of development that business owners and leaders can do? I know you have a number of events at your lodge. I'm looking forward to being able to come to one. And it's, I think leaders complicate their process so much, and they complicate what they're supposed to do. And I call it the bright, shiny object syndrome. It's, you know, the business isn't generating, I need to go spend $10,000 on a website. And we've talked to companies who've poured $7,000, $10,000 a month into marketing with no sales process, no business operations process. So when we come in, the problem is not your marketing agency, is there's nothing to hold what you're feeding in, right? And so as leaders, where do they start as a leader? They're in charge of a big ship. They have all these moving parts. They know they have to set a sales goal. They have to kick up the energy. But what do you find is the hesitation that most leaders don't do this?
Well, it's part of a growth system, okay? They need a growth system, and that's really what we're teaching people. Is it starts by activating the prey drive of the leader and the people, and that's very important, because until the prey drive is activated, none of this stuff matters, right? Prey drive is an instinctual ability to see something and go get it. It's drive, it's vim and vigor, it's enthusiasm. There's activators of that drive to get the culture going, where people are excited and enthusiastic and motivated and ready to make them 80 phone calls a day, right? Whether they want to or not, they're getting their mind ready for what their body's about to do. So prey drive is first, explanation of service is second. Do you have a world-class explanation of service? That's a 6-step process that we teach. that we learned through a person in our coaching program named Tom Love. He and I have worked together to take that and commercialize that concept. Then we've got the selling system we call legacy selling, and that is in my book, Inside the Mind of a Monster. Then we've got $1 Million Follow-Up, which is a 7-touch system to get and keep the attention of the prospect who's interested. Then we've got how do you extract 5.7 referrals. Then we move to person of interest. Okay, how you become the go-to player. This is part of a growth system. Okay, so we at the lodge that you mentioned, we spend 2 days breaking the whole system down, and you find hundreds of thousands of dollars in that system where you're losing money. Because I guarantee you, I don't care if you got $1 billion company, there are parts of that system that you're not doing very well. You're not getting referrals. You're not following up like you should, right? You're not working the selling system. You don't have a good EOS. Prey drive is inactive in many of your people. So we find a place that you're losing money. That's called a missing structure. And we help you as the coach feel that missing structure.
I love that you talk about that. We call it revenue leakage, right? And it's amazing to me, Coach. And, you know, I tell people, I'm always going to tell you the truth. This is what we live in and day out. You know, there are organizations. My last question to you is about the hunter mentality within your sales team. You know, I believe that you need hunters and not gatherers. And what we find with more established companies is that there's such a push for marketing and branding, and they're now a name and they're well known. So the sales team aren't really hunters. They're really gatherers. They're waiting. You know, one of the questions we ask is, tell me what's your show rate on sales conversations, whatever you want to call it, in person. And I'm frequently told 100%. Now, no one has 100% show rate all the time, right? And that tells me there are more gatherers. There's not tracking. There's no system. There's none of that information there. So what is the best way that a leader can create a culture and attract and keep hunters on their sales team versus gatherers?
Yeah, I think the leader needs to be a dynamic person, and people are attracted to people who are dynamic, people who are moving, people who are circulating. See, part of the opportunity to work with a guy like me is who you're exposed to on a weekly basis. What kind of talent do you get? Where places do you get to go? Who do you get to be around? It's not just the work. I mean, it's a real opportunity to spend time with some of the top thinkers in the world, to be exposed to the best strategies and the best tactics. You know, a lot of the leaders are just not that dynamic. They're not that interesting. They don't bring a lot to the equation. You know, I try to attract like-minded people who want to do something big in the world. They see work as a distribution channel for their talents. They have talents and they're distributing those talents to the world. And the higher they distribute those talents, the more the world begins to reward them in the form of love and money and recognition and referrals and reputation and affirmation, right? So they distribute their talent to the world, and the world comes back and says, man, you're good. We're going to pay you more money, and we're right, or we're going to give you bigger commissions, or we're going to go out here and produce more. And so that's very important, that you attract like-minded people who want to do something big. But you, as the leader, need to be a dynamic person that is doing big things in the world.
I love that. So guys, you've gotten so many nuggets today. One of the things I want to share with you before we go is take action on what you've heard. There's at least 5 or 6 different things that if you implement with this within your company, even if you don't hire a coach or hire me, you can see a shift within your company. But all of this is going to happen if you take action as the leader and you hold your team accountable and you move out of feelings and into production, because winter will ask you what you did all spring and summer. And when we go back to a new normal, this is the last thing I want to tell you. Right now, we're filming this at the time where there's the coronavirus. Now, I won't get into the studies and what people think in the time frame. You know, some cities are shut down for 90 days. There will be a recovery. Do you want to be the person in receipt of assistance, or do you want to be the one getting assistance so you can get receipts? That's what you have to ask yourself, and take whatever you heard today, take one thing and implement it into your business today. And believe me, if you're uncomfortable, you're on the right track. Coach, thank you so much for your time today. Anything else you want to share with us before we go?
No, I just tell people, take advantage of what I'm giving you. I'm giving you the book, Inside the Mind of a Monster, right? Text the code in. Eric White and Lake at Hibden are on here. They can get you the code if you didn't catch it. You just email them or text them, and we can really make sure we help you get to the higher frequency. But text that number in that we gave you. Okay, I'll show it to you one more time, so you can see it. Very important. I want everybody to see. Yeah, there we go. I want everybody to see this so they can get it, because this is a good thing. I'm going to share my screen. There you go, right there. Text that. Text monster, right? Text monster exclamation point for Double D LaDawn, right? She got that Double D personality. Okay. At 678-506-7543, monster in all capitals with an exclamation point. I'm going to give you a copy of the book, Inside the Mind of a Monster, on me, just for coming and being part of this today, guys. So 678-506-7543, monster exclamation point. That's going to get you the book, Inside the Mind of a Monster. So thank you for having me. I really enjoyed this. I like you a lot. You're a cool person, and we're kindred spirits, right?
We are kindred spirits. It's something about being from the South. I'm just telling you. Coach, thank you so much. Thank you for your team. I truly enjoyed it, guys. Until next time, go out and make something happen in your business today. Pivot and take action. Thank you.